you're following the auto industry, you know everyone is just racing to electrify. But it's different when one of the biggest players in the world, Stellantis, the company behind Jeep, Ram, Dodge, puts out this massive game plan.
It's more than a game plan. It's a total blueprint.
Exactly. And it sets these just colossal goals for the next decade. We're talking finance, environment, technology, everything.
That's right. And for our sources today, we've got the whole picture. We're looking at their main strategy document, the Dare Forward 2030 plan,
Okay.
but also the really detailed stuff like the new STLA frame platform and even the product roadmaps,
Yeah.
especially what they're doing with Jeep's EV push.
And that's where we want to focus this deep dive. They keep using this phrase, cutting edge freedom of mobility.
Mm-hmm.
So our mission today is to dig into how they actually plan to deliver on that. I mean, how do you hit a target of 5 million electric vehicles a year
An incredible number.
and still protect what makes a Ram truck or a Jeep? How do you electrify that kind of heavy-duty capability?
It's the ultimate tightrope walk, isn't it? You've got these huge green mandates on one side, but on the other, you can't compromise on, towing 14,000 pounds.
Okay, let's unpack this. So this Dare Forward 2030 plan, the scale of it is just, it's enormous. Let's start with the climate piece.
Right.
They're basically committing to being carbon net zero globally by 2038. For a company with that many factories, that just sounds stunning.
It is, and they put some very serious markers along the way. It's not just a far-off goal. There's an interim target of cutting carbon emissions by 50% by 2030.
And that's compared to just 2021 levels.
Exactly. And you have to understand, that's not just about tailpipe emissions. This is everything. Their supply chain, their factories, raw materials, the whole system.
Okay, so let's get into the cars. The numbers that really define this shift. The electrification targets they're really aggressive.
They are, especially when you break it down by region.
In Europe, they're going for a 100% BEV sales mix for passenger cars by 2030.
That's 100%. Just think about that. By the end of the decade, no new gas-powered passenger cars sold in Europe. That's a huge lift.
It's a massive lift, but what I find even more fascinating is the U.S. target, because it hits right at their biggest moneymakers.
Yeah, that's where the rubber really meets the road.
They're aiming for a 50% BEV sales mix for cars and light-duty trucks in the U.S. by 2030.
And adding light-duty trucks in there is the key phrase, isn't it?
It's everything. I mean, the American truck buyer is probably the toughest customer to convince on this. They want max capability, zero downtime.
Totally. And Stellantis knows that. So the big picture goal is over 75 different BEV models globally and hitting 5 million BEV sales a year by 2030.
To even attempt that, you need a revolutionary amount of money.
Which brings us to the financial side of the plan.
Right. They need billions for R&D, for battery factories, for retooling plants. So they're targeting, to double their net revenues?
To 300 billion euros by 2030, it's a staggering figure.
Doubling your revenue while you're also completely changing your core technology. That sounds incredibly risky.
It's the kind of risk you have to take. But here's the balancing act, and this is the most important financial piece. They've committed to sustaining double-digit adjusted operating income margins the whole time.
So just to translate that for you listening, that's their profit buffer. They're saying they will stay highly profitable.
Well, the digits, yeah.
Even while spending all this money on new expensive tech.
Exactly. They are not sacrificing profit for the transition. They're trying to do both at once. And on top of that, they're aiming for over 20 billion euros in industrial free cash flows in 2030.
So that's their war chest, pure cash they can spend to keep innovating?
It proves the whole thing is a financial strategy first, which then drives the technical strategy.
And look, none of this works if you don't change how you sell and service these things. This isn't just about steel and batteries.
That's such a crucial point. It's about the customer experience. They're aiming for top rankings in customer satisfaction.
Which signals they're thinking long-term. Not just selling a car, but keeping the customer happy with service and quality.
And the biggest change there is probably the digital marketplace.
Yeah, 1/3 of all global sales online by 2030. That completely changes the role of the dealership, the whole customer relationship.
It does. And they're even trying to change things internally. They've set a goal for women to hold at least 35% of leadership roles. It's a full system overhaul. What's fascinating here is, how do you actually build the machines to do all this? How do you bridge that gap between the huge 2030 goals and what a truck buyer needs today?
Right.
You can't just take a small car platform, make it bigger, and expected to pull a giant trailer. And that's where this new technical foundation, the SDLA frame platform, comes in.
So SDLA frame, this is a dedicated heavy-duty platform. Explain why that's so important for, say, Ram and Jeep customers.
It's all about the body-on-frame design. Most electric cars are unibody, where the body and frame are one piece. But for serious trucks and big SUVs, you need a separate, super strong chassis, the frame, that the body bolts onto. It's essential for towing heavy loads and handling tough off-road stress. SDLA frame is built specifically for that segment.
And the sources keep using this term multi-energy. It's designed for batteries, but it's more flexible than that.
A lot more flexible. It can support a traditional gas engine, a hybrid, hydrogen, but the really interesting one is REEV, Range Extender Electric Vehicle.
This multi-energy idea feels like their big hedge, their way of managing risk.
It absolutely is. They can pivot based on, gas prices, how fast chargers are built, or just what customers want. But when you look at the specs they're targeting for the platform, they are not compromising.
Okay, give us those aha numbers. This is the stuff that's meant to convince the skeptics.
All right. For the pure battery electric version, they're targeting a range of up to 500 miles.
500 miles. Okay, that's a number that gets a truck owner's attention.
800 kilometers. But the real breakthrough figure is for that REEV, the range extender. They're targeting up to 690 miles.
Wow. 690. That's over 1,100 kilometers. That's the number that kills the anxiety about towing a boat across the country.
And the capability numbers are right there with it. We're talking a max towing capacity of 14,000 pounds.
And a payload of 2,700 pounds. Plus, it can handle water fording up to 24 inches. That is the complete package customers demand.
And the way the RAEV system works is really clever. You have the battery, you have the electric motors, the EDMs, and you have a small gas engine that acts as an onboard generator.
But, and this is the key detail, right? The engine never actually turns the wheels.
Never. There is no direct mechanical path. The wheels are 100% electric drive, all the time.
So the gas engine is basically just a power plant for the electric system, a really sophisticated onboard charger.
Precisely. Its only job is to make electricity to power the motors and recharge the battery. You get that extended range, but you still have the instant torque and silent operation of an EV.
I have to ask, though, isn't using a gas engine as a generator kind of defeating the purpose of going electric? Especially to get that big 690-mile number. It feels like a halfway step.
That's a fair question, but it shows you what their priority is right now. Capability and flexibility.
Getting people comfortable with the tech.
Exactly. The goal is to give that EV experience, the power, the quietness, but with the kind of endurance a traditional truck owner is used to. It's a bridge to get their most important customers into the electric world.
And I guess once battery tech gets better and cheaper, they can just swap in a bigger battery and phase out the range extender on the same platform.
That's the plan. It's a very smart use of the multi-energy concept.
Mm-hmm.
And on the charging side, they're using 800-volt architecture.
Which means super fast DC charging.
Lightning fast. Up to 350 kilowatts. They're claiming you can add 100 miles of range in just 10 minutes.
That's huge.
And that power goes both ways. The platform has bidirectional charging built in, so your truck can power your tools at a job site or even your house during a blackout.
The ultimate accessory.
For sure. And we already know the first vehicles to use this will be from Ram and Jeep. The Ram 1500 BEV is coming in 2024.
Here's where it gets really interesting, because we're moving from the blueprint to the actual product. And, I mean, no brand screams capability and heritage like Jeep.
Absolutely.
So the big question is, how do you take that DNA, that brand identity built on gas-powered toughness, and make it electric without losing what it is?
Well, what they're doing is making sure the core Jeep features are non-negotiable. Things like the select terrain system, full underbody protection, and, serious ground clearance and water wading ability.
And you can see that across the whole upcoming lineup. You've got the small Avenger BEV, which is front-wheel drive, but can still wade through 400 millimeters of water.
Then there's the new Compass BEV, which will have a 4x4 option, almost 400 horsepower. And at the high end, the Wagoneer S is going to be a luxury powerhouse with around 600 horsepower.
But the one that feels like the real mission statement, the one that directly tackles this whole capability versus range debate, that's the Jeep Recon.
The Recon, yeah, that's the one.
It's this all-electric mid-size SUV that's all about that classic rugged open-air feel, Removable doors, exposed hinges.
Just a pure, unapologetic off-roader. It's designed to be trail-rated from the factory with
Yeah.
things like electronic locking differential.
Then the performance numbers are, well, they're just nuts. The dual motors put out 650 horsepower.
And 620 pound-feet of torque. The 0 to 60 time is what, 3.6 seconds?
Yep. 3.6 seconds. And a boxy, rugged off-road vehicle. It's just wild to think it has the acceleration of a high-end sports car.
But that power isn't just for showing off. Jeep is adamant that the instant torque is a huge advantage for off-roading. It gives the driver incredible low-speed control and precision over rocks and tricky terrain.
Okay, but this is where the trade-off comes in, and the sources are really clear about it. It has a big battery, over 100 kilowatt
A
hour,
very generous battery.
but the range is only around 250 miles, which you have to say is less than some of its key competitors.
It is, and that number basically confirms Stellantis' strategy. They are choosing to prioritize maximum off-road capability, that instant power, and the trail-rated badge over chasing the absolute highest highway range number they could.
Their CEO even said they aren't going to chase volume just to chase volume.
Exactly. It shows they're confident there's a specific buyer for this. A niche, maybe, but a profitable one. They believe someone will choose the most capable electric off-roader, even if it means a bit less range on a road trip. They're selling the DNA first. If we connect this to the bigger picture, the main takeaway for me is that Stellantis is making this enormous bet, right? These huge financial targets, 5 million BEVs, but they're backing it up with incredible technical flexibility.
Right. And that flexibility is why the STLA frame is really the hero of this whole story. Being able to offer a 690-mile range extender version is what lets them bring their most important customers along for the ride.
It lets them move their biggest, most profitable trucks and SUVs into the electric age without scaring off the people who depend on that traditional endurance.
This whole strategy just shows how the industry is trying to figure out how to electrify the hard stuff. The segments where value isn't just about range, it's about towing and articulation and pure capability.
And they're doing it all while, again, promising to maintain that double-digit profit margin. That's the real trick.
Okay, so here's a final thought for you to chew on, and it connects back to those strategy documents we started with. We mentioned the plan to have 1/3 of all sales happen online by 2030.
A huge consumer shift.
So for you, the listener, think about this. How does that massive shift to digital sales change your relationship with these incredibly complex vehicles we just talked about? If you're online configuring a Ram truck with this new REEV technology or buying a Recon that needs specialized support, how does the service model have to change to support that? Especially if the local dealer is playing a smaller and smaller role. That's a huge challenge nobody's really solved yet.
That's a great question to leave with. Thank you for walking us through these sources. This has been a fascinating look at Stellantis' entire blueprint for the future.
Always more to learn.
And thanks to all of you for joining us on this deep dive. We really encourage you to follow the channel so you can stay on top of the next big topics we'll be breaking down. We'll catch you next time.